Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, Mayweather McGregor recap. The NBA was shaken, now it's just stirred after Cavs and Celtics trade goes south. NFL news and updates, including how much I hate the Browns as much as the world hates Christian Laettner, as well as the recap of the WWE Raw and SmackDown and more, starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Debates Among Friends, episode 69 on August 30th, 2017. We're happy you decided to join us on this Wednesday evening. I am your host, the Professor John Gotti, and his hands are sterile and he's ready to operate. It's the surgeon that administers CCs of reality. It is Doc Ocean. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm glad I'm not in Cleveland. How about that?
There's a lot of people who are happy they're not in Cleveland.
But we got ourselves a packed show, despite what the rundown shows. But it is the opportunity to introduce our guest today. He got through security in spite of what Chris wanted us to do, but he made it here. He is in studio tonight. It is the Duke. How you doing tonight, sir?
I am good. Not as good as I will be once I catch Chris in the parking lot.
Oh,
but
boy.
That's another story for another time.
Shots fired.
Hilarious.
Well,
Coming
gentlemen.
out swinging.
Oh, my goodness. Well, gentlemen, let's get straight to it. Mayweather versus McGregor. What did you think of the match?
Look like practice out there.
Practice? Practice? Don't tell about anything about no practice.
I mean, it was
I just
a definition.
I just want to win another fight.
It might have been the definition of SAWFT out there. Patty cake. They were playing patty cake out there.
It was a lot of
Baker's man.
Baker. It was
Like to the point where I was sitting there, I was like, because my link went down. That's something that we got to talk about. I guess people getting refunded, but my link went down, and I was like, all right, whatever. Then somebody started streaming it on their phone, on their Facebook. I watched the whole fight on Facebook. How unbelievable is that?
I mean,
that's unbelievable.
Is it unbelievable or free? Clutch?
I mean, it was clutch. I mean, he wasn't the best at keeping the screen on his phone.
I mean, not a lot of people were, though.
Yeah, like he was really, really terrible with it. Like there were pivotal moments in the fight where I thought I was going to miss a big punch because he was just like I didn't know if he was scared or I didn't know what he was doing. But I mean, shout out to that guy. He got his one day of fame. He had 300K viewers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal. So I mean, shout out to that guy. But the fight was lackluster. I really felt like we got bamboozled.
Run amok.
Yes.
Let us stray.
This boxing match landed on us.
No, this boxing match should have just stayed in the dock back in England.
I mean, let's just really think about it. When was the last Mayweather fight that was top billed and delivered?
Probably Cody.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Oh goodness. No, I mean, but my thing is they both were almost like, all right, so they both were playing defensive minded boxing, we'll say. Because I felt like Conor, his main objective was basically to last. Because he was tired. I mean, he was gassed after 8, I think, 7.
Yep.
And I mean,
5.
because at first I was like,
4.
all right, he was sitting there and he kept putting his arm out, hey, and it was a great strategy because I was, he wanted Mayweather to kind of do something, but then after a while, it was like he couldn't even do that anymore.
Yep.
So it really got to a point where it was like, okay, are they gonna really box? And then Mayweather is doing his normal,
Earthquake dance.
Yeah, the people could see me. It's like those things that are in the car sales lots with the arms just wiggling all over the body. The Bailey things.
The wacky flailing inflatable tube man.
Yeah, like so he was doing that, and I mean, Conor was just like tag, 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 tag. I'm just gonna take these points, tag, 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 tag. Like he was hitting them, but it was just like, slap, kind of just slapping each other, with the gloves. There was no fisticuffs. It was like I was watching. I don't even know. Like I saw more punches on '90s Jerry Springer than I did in this fight.
Shots fired.
I mean, and then Mayweather was like, "Oh, I guess somebody must have told him like, hey, this is gonna sound crazy, but he's actually beating you in the card. You got to fight. You can't just sit back because you're doing all this with the arms, and he's just tagging you. You know what I mean? He's not hurting them."
Nope.
And clearly, I don't think either one of them went into this fight like, "Hey, yeah, we're not gonna hurt each other." This is probably WWE choreographed.
I'm not gonna lie. I felt like it was exactly that. It was pretty much a
Yeah.
WWE match.
Right.
I
It
mean,
was pretty
granted,
terrible.
first of all, kudos to Paulo Ronaldo for doing an excellent
Yes.
job with the match. Like before they even came out, and even as they're coming out, he helped hype the match. So he did an incredible job with that. So kudos to him with that. But everything else felt like it was scripted.
Yeah.
Now there's more stories coming around. Apparently, there's a rumor that one of the bookies got killed.
Mm.
Once again, rumors. I don't know. I don't want to say that's a fact because I don't, media bait.
I mean, it's possible when you think about it. I mean, there's so much money being thrown around, and if you were betting on, let's say, a round that he might get knocked out in, or if he was going to get knocked out, period, you know what I mean, or whatever, like that could cost you a lot of money. Just him going 10 rounds just seemed too, yeah, like it was so weird.
There are a few key takeaways of this fight, and I'll try to do this chronologically. First was the fact that Mayweather put a last-minute bet on himself. That was kind of the first red flag right there. The second being that in every way that counts, looking at the numbers, statistically speaking, McGregor should have won.
Absolutely.
Third was the fact that even though McGregor is younger and you fight in what is arguably a much more strenuous contact sport,
right?
You couldn't push your endurance past a UFC championship fight. That's sad. And you had upwards of a year to prepare for this.
This is true.
So that's just sad in and of itself. But the fourth, and probably the biggest red flag for me, is the fact that immediately after the fight, the post-fight press conference, y'all were just chummy.
That's what I'm saying.
You sat here and talked smack to each other for upwards of a year, 9 months. A baby was born between you announcing this fight and throwing the first punch. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a dang good point.
I'm just saying, if anybody talks crap about me for 9 months, and I know I'm gonna fight you in 9 months, I'm taking your head off. I don't care if it's for money, for pride, doesn't matter to me. But yeah, those were my four major takeaways from this fight.
All
I
I
think
can
that's a
think of,
good
all I can
point.
think about with your analogy right there is every single time McGregor or Mayweather actually land a shot, an angel gets his. That's all I can think of right there.
And that's a
You
good.
know,
That's good. I mean, it's really terrible. It was really terrible. It was
it
terrible.
was, and I think the thing that pissed me off the most about it is the fact that Mayweather now has the best record in boxing history.
Yes.
You beat out a real fighter, and now, mind you, Marciano's not my guy personally, but I can admire what he did in the sport. You beat his record in this one very lackluster fight.
Now let me ask you, because people keep talking about this, and a lot of people keep bringing this up. And I wanted to get your opinion because I love boxing, but I don't know the history of boxing as well as I would like to.
Mm-hmm.
People keep bringing up Julio Cesar Chavez and his 89 wins. What is the deal with these 89 wins?
All right, so the reason why I say, or I guess a lot of commentators would say that Marciano has the best record in boxing history is because they're speaking from a professional standpoint.
Okay.
Professional records. Chavez's record spanned his amateur, semi-pro, and pro record.
Got it.
So, I mean, yeah, like when you stack all of those up, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
obviously.
Makes sense. That's why I was curious because it was kind of weird.
Yeah. That's just like I didn't like how they. I understand why, but I didn't like the not disrespect, but non-support of McGregor when he got in the ring, and basically your professional record is 0-0, or 0-1 now.
Oh my God!
I'm just like, dude. Look, even though you're not a boxer, you don't have professional boxing. Fine, you don't announce your record. We just say, hey, weight champion. All right, cool.
I hate how people were pretending. I just hated the fact that people were acting like he doesn't know how to fight, and in the ring, I felt like he portrayed that he didn't know how to fight. Like it wasn't even fighting. Like, and that's the whole reason why we picked him last week. We sat here, we picked him because he was a fighter. Yeah. It was more than just a puncher's chance. Like, it was, hey, this guy can throw a punch. But I don't think he threw a punch all night. Not one punch.
You know what? I will give him one good punch. He caught Mayweather with an uppercut. It was either the end of the first or the beginning of the second.
It was
I missed that. I didn't.
Counter. Really
yes.
And that was probably the only really good shot that McGregor hit on.
Yeah,
that's why, because I didn't catch in until the third. So all right, because the rest of the fight, I felt like they were just.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, McGregor came out strong. He came out, trying to throw bombs, which admittedly is hard to do against Mayweather because he is a good mover. He's got good footwork.
Right.
And he's got good head movement. But, I mean, at the same time, statistically speaking, you throw enough punches, at least one of them's going to land. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what McGregor did. In the process, he gassed himself out. But,
right. See, that's why, and I guess that's where it comes in, where it's like, hey, McGregor won the first couple of rounds based on the scorecard and how it was being scored, and how some of the initial analysts saw it. And he was kind of leading, like, I would say it was like maybe Floyd, or it might have been McGregor, then Floyd, McGregor. So, I mean, it was like 4-2 going into this. Like, he was losing, you know what I mean? Like, Floyd was losing here. So, to me, it's like, all right, and people are like, people on Facebook, I mean, we went ham on Facebook. I had to turn my phone off because I was like, people are like, oh, he would have got knocked out. Like, I think one person said if it continued, he would have just got brain damage. And I was like, are we watching the same fight? Like, they're not hitting each other.
They're not hitting each other.
No.
He came out for 20 seconds and might have hit him 3 times. McGregor was just like kind of eating those punches because you think about it.
Okay.
I'm sure he's got eaten harder. He got
so,
hitting harder
I'm
than
so
that.
glad that you mentioned that. So the next point, and I'll actually Chris stats about the Julio
Please.
Chavez, by the way. Most of his wins, so up to that 89 win streak that he had, majority of them was either KOs or TKOs. He only had very few, seldom wins by points.
Now, how many of those? I guess we should look at how many of those were actually professional fights.
They're all professional fights.
No, I stand corrected.
So
that's where it gets weird, because I mean, why are we saying that he's? It has to be something. You know, that's why when Kelvin's point, you know, it would have made sense in that situation, because if they're not all professional, then hey, okay, I could get striking some of those from the record.
Yes.
But if they're all professional, then I don't even know why we skip that. And now we have apparently Mayweather. It's like the best boxer in history now, and he might not deserve that.
And that goes to my next point. So here's why. Everyone, as far as everyone, I'm talking about casual fans of boxing or casual fans of anything, period. Look at things at the most recent. They don't really pay attention to the historical factor.
Okay.
You know, we make the same claim about how the younger generation doesn't necessarily have the fuller appreciation of what Michael Jordan did, or Bill Russell did, or Wilt Chamberlain did. And would automatically assume that LeBron James is the greatest thing.
Interesting conversation that happened with that. I don't know if I have time to squeeze this in.
But
okay, I don't have time to squeeze this in, so that's fine.
The thing that I really want to talk about is what does everyone feel about the videos that's been going out that showed Conor McGregor pulling his punches?
I mean, I don't feel like he hit him at all, like the whole fight. So I mean, I feel like he pulled his punches the entire fight. Like, I don't believe that he threw a punch past the third round that was anywhere near even getting close to even resembling somewhat of even in the same boat of a sea of boxing down the aisle of gloves in the surrounding fighting area.
Hilarious.
Of a punch that even a child in his local self-defense class would have thrown. I don't feel Mayweather threw a punch even at that level.
You know, it's funny that you bring that up, because after Mayweather got rocked with that uppercut, and for everyone who's like he didn't, he dropped his gloves. Like he got rocked in that one punch.
I think
not enough to really do any lasting damage.
I feel like that punch woke him up.
Yes, and you know, it's funny because at the end of that round, he kind of shoots McGregor this look. And at the time, commentators were like, oh, you know, he's showing McGregor respect. You know, hey, all right, maybe you do deserve to be here. I think looking at it in retrospect, with everything that happened throughout the rest of the fight, it was
supposed to hit me that hard.
Exactly. It was a check. Like, hey, look, that's not what we discussed.
That's not what we discussed.
You know,
stick to the script.
Not the plan.
Stick to the script. Throw the damn towel.
I'm just saying.
No, you're right, though. You're right.
It's like when you're sparring at half speed and somebody just comes across with a good hook. You're like, whoa, what was that?
It's kind of like in the movie The Great White Hype. Remember, I mean, he was like, you trying to embarrass me? And he went crazy. That's kind of how it was. I mean,
Man.
I just didn't feel like they even tried to give us anything close to what we expected. Like, they didn't even try.
You know what? I'm going to put it like this. For anybody that's listening, and I'm not advocating violence here, I'm just saying this as a social experiment. I want you to go and find somebody who is at least 15 years older than you. A little bit smaller, a little bit shorter, and just go pick a fight with them. Fight Club rules. Just go pick a fight with them and see if you don't come out on top. Again.
And this is what I was going to say.
And that's depending on the person you're going to fight. You're at least, give us a quick number crunch, Chris. About 60% of the time you'll win.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying go to your local gym and go pick a fight with Debo. Right. Even though you're the height of LeBron James. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm just saying, if I have the same stats that were in this fight, I'd give it even more than 60% of the time. 80% of the time. The bets don't lie. The statistics going into the fight don't lie.
Nope.
There should have been a whole different outcome.
But
this is what I was...
the milk went bad real fast.
I think the milk came out of the cow bad. It didn't even make it. It literally, that's a bad cow.
Was the cow that was bad, or was just the grass that the cow ate was bad?
Either way, it's time to make some glue.
Absolutely, the cow.
Glue.
It's all good. Cow, yeah, I get it. I mean, let's just let it go.
You mean steak?
No, I mean glue.
Yeah, he did mean glue.
I'll pick up some Elmer's.
So the point that I was going to make earlier when you said about the kids and discrepancy here, and of course this is way off topic, but I want to make sure I get it out before I lose it. Interesting, I was watching Hard Knocks. I don't know if it was last week or the week before last. The Bucks are on Hard Knocks, so of course I'm all about it. There was two different opinions, and it's funny you mentioned that because, obviously Deshaun Jackson is in his 30s, Mike Evans is in his 20s, and they were talking about basketball on the sideline, and he was like, dude, LeBron is, Mike Evans, LeBron James is the best player in the league ever. He's the best guy to ever play. I give Michael Jordan his credit. I give all those other guys, Magic and all those other Bird, all those guys credit. But LeBron James is the best guy. He's revolutionizing the game. And, Deshaun Jackson was like, I give LeBron credit. He's like, man, I ain't lying. You sound like a hater right now. And that's where we always kind of come along. Hey, you sound like a hater. On Facebook. If you're not, I think that's in the world, period. If you're not for somebody, you're automatically against them.
Yes.
And I wasn't for. I don't dislike Mayweather. I think he's a good. Again, as I mentioned last week, one of the best defensive boxers ever. I just think it's not. I don't see how he can get so much money and not have to throw so many punches. Tyson was literally knocking blocks off. Lennox Lewis, George Foreman. These guys were dominating people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they deserved the money. Mayweather dances around for 12 rounds. And don't get me wrong, he has great endurance. But it's kind of like the NFL. We want to see touchdowns. We want to see points scored. We want to see big hits. We want to see basically brain damage. I hate it. But that's what we want to see. And when we turn on to see boxing, we want to see punches thrown. We don't want to see this guy jumping around, which is why I'm surprised that so many people paid $100. Also surprised that the pay-per-view kind of stalled out on some people and they lost out on seeing it. But I guess so many people ordered it. But see, here I have something about that though too. I really think that before the fight came on, they did a sweep to try and shut down the streaming sites. I really believe that. They did a strong sweep, and it was they had all of their tech guys and every site possible, and said, "Hey, let's try to run a quick sweep." Because they had Mayweather in the back getting a scalp massage. You know what I mean? He was in the back getting a scalp massage and getting his hand taped and everything. And I was like, they're probably running. It was 30 minutes of them just doing random stuff. And I was like, they're probably doing a sweep to make sure that people aren't streaming it. And it probably
did their part.
Yeah, and it probably knocked some people out. That's what I think. But they're getting sued now, of course, or not sued, but they might be getting sued. They might be. Some people might be like, I paid $100, but you robbed me of this experience to see Mayweather. The emotional turmoil that you put me through that night. I want
Box of
100.
specs.
I want 150,000. But I settle for 50,000 right now.
And free pay-per-view for
and,
life.
And according to Dana White, he actually said that it drew 5 million pay-per-view buys.
That's crazy.
Which I think that's probably why it broke, because so many people freaking ordered it, and they wasn't expecting that many people to do
expecting it, yeah.
You know, not to mention not a lot of bars were broadcasting it too.
Right.
They said why, but totally announced me, and Chris hasn't been able to research it.
Chris.
But final points about this match. Do you feel like the match ended prematurely?
Absolutely.
I'm like, dude, you know what? I was half expecting UFC rules. Like, just don't stop until somebody ain't moving or somebody taps out. Like,
yeah,
that's how we running this. And
it's kind of McGregor. Like, come on, what the heck? That's how I knew it at that moment. That's when I knew that I felt like it was just like it was almost like a charity fight.
Well, I mean, even McGregor came out and said,
right, charity for their bank account.
Came out and said, I was a winner by the time I stepped in the ring because I quadrupled my net worth in one night.
Yes. And people believed, like, hey, this is going to be a real fight.
No.
And it was like, they really tried. And it was like...
And I believe I said that, too, during the predictions.
If Mayweather was smart, though, he would have took a dive, honestly.
No, he wouldn't.
Because Mayweather McGregor 2 would have been lit.
Oh, yeah.
But he wouldn't have, because that was his last match.
He would have fought again.
No,
if he would have sacrificed his legacy, he would have probably doubled or quadrupled the amount of money that he got this time.
I'm just saying, like, he's already come out of retirement now twice.
Right. Like, you can just be like, just take the dive, man. You got hit on the chin. Just take one on the chin. You know what I mean? It's all.
And that.
I knew that time. I knew that time was perfect.
It was perfect. That's why I said final thoughts.
Yeah, that's good.
So, moving from, stage sports entertainment, aka to the world of the NBA. More drama in Cleveland. Apparently, Isaiah Thomas has been deemed by some analysts and sources as damaged goods for this trade between the Boston Celtics and the LeBron Cavaliers.
See, when I read that, that's when it made more sense as to why they added that 2018 first round pick. So I was like, okay, now I get it. Even though Isaiah Thomas probably is, as he said, going to come back strong, it makes sense. Hey, he has a bad hip. We'll throw in that 2018 first round pick. Cavs came back and said, hey, we want Jaylen Brown or Tatum. You can kick rocks, bro.
They can kick pebbles, is what Danny Ainge told them.
They can kick rocks with a bare foot.
Like, the funniest part about the whole thing is they were completely transparent. To all of the actual good inside sources, the Celtics were completely transparent about Isaiah Thomas's health. He refused to, do the work to get himself back into recovery. He chose not to do that. Now they have to reap the they have to reap the consequences of their inaction because they didn't have a medical personnel from the Cavaliers monitor his true health before actually pulling.
I mean, they're still getting a pretty solid deal, man. Even if he isn't 100%, you got a great insurance policy with Derrick Rose. At the end of the day, if LeBron leaves, which everybody believes he is, the team is still in a much better place than they were when LeBron left the first time. I mean, as a GM, you have to start looking at, hey, if LeBron leaves, That's what, 20 something million dollars off the cap. If you can drop some of those bums like, JR and Shump who want to be traded also, which we could definitely get to. It's like you take Isaiah Thomas, hey, Isaiah might be able to, come back maybe November, December at 100% at this point, maybe January, and help them push for a title. They're not going to win it because they got to go against the Warriors, but at least it'll look good. Kyrie will go on to dominate in Boston, but I don't know if that's going to happen because I don't see them giving up Jaylen Brown or Tatum. Like, that's just too much. And if I'm Danny Ainge, I'm like, please reject this offer because there will not be another offer.
Nope. And of
I'll
course,
take my...
talking about other offers, suddenly are about trying
because
to
because the Bucks need a point guard. And that makes sense.
Really
I like it.
They really do need a point guard.
And we talked about that. I think me, you, Q-Mart. Yeah, we talked about it. How we felt like. Shout out to Q-Mart, who's on your gang. Yeah, he's in your gang. The only person missing is that October. He's still missing.
Oh goodness. Where's
October? ¿Dónde es October?
Oh gosh.
October.
Okay. That's enough.
Sorry. That was my hand.
That really was.
Yeah. But I think we talked about it where we believed that Derrick Rose would have been a good fit there. Mm-hmm. Imagine if Derrick Rose would have went to the Bucks. It would have been a pretty nice little lineup that they would have had there. But you bring Kyrie.
They're a point guard and.
But if they trade for Kyrie, Jason Kidd's on watch.
They trade for Kyrie and they get a seed.
Right.
Jason Kidd is on watch.
He's on watch. I agree.
Because now you actually have a legit scoring machine who's literally the best finisher around the rim for a point.
Right. Now, with all these names on the block, and I mean, we could definitely, I just want to get, I guess, everybody's take on this. I said it earlier, it's business as usual.
Yep.
But how do all these guys feel? Isaiah Thomas, not Kyrie, because Kyrie wants to get traded, but Isaiah Thomas, and let's now go to the Bucks. You got Brogdon, and you got, whoever else in the Bucks that they're offering. How do you think these guys feel, Crowder, about being in this trade? Hey, we got traded.
If they end up vetoing this trade, and I mentioned this on Facebook, you're gonna have disgruntled players. I don't think they're gonna work as hard this year because now they're coming back. I believe a good example was
Demo. Oh, that was terrible. But I mean, with Demo, now he's another one. His back was just not up to par. Pistons were like, no, we can't take that. We don't want that. Nobody's gonna want none. Send him back. Which I don't blame him. But in this situation, I mean, Isaiah Thomas's hip is not good in this situation. Mm-hmm. Isaiah Thomas is like, whatever, they gave up on me. But I mean, if they're gonna offer him the money next summer, I mean, what happens? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Does he accept it, or does he go to the Knicks?
Like I said, I want some excitement from my.
Because that's the only team that I think. Need. Yeah, I mean, again, if the Knicks could easily step up and trade Isaiah Thomas. Yeah. For somebody, Carmelo or somebody. I don't know. I mean, what do you think about a young guy like Brogdon? I mean, obviously he's a couple years in the league. I mean, do you think this is going to mess with his psyche?
That will mess with his psyche. And we keep talking about, or at least I keep talking about, let the boys play.
Right.
Give him a chance. I know Q-Mart isn't high on him at all, despite the fact that he won player, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he did won most improved player past season. But,
Right.
let him develop a little bit more. Got himself into the starting lineup this year. Like, let him improve more. Don't just, okay, here he is, and then bye, have fun with this. Because then we see
That's
a lot
fair.
of players who really, really good on this one team, one season, get traded, and now they're a complete bum.
Right. I mean, what do
A
you think?
shadow of their.
No, definitely. Do you think then the Celtics are going to give up more in this deal to
Absolutely
complete
not.
it?
Absolutely. And if
It
they
would be
do,
foolish.
there be rounds.
Mm. Mm.
I mean, but going back to what you were saying earlier, this is just like I was saying last week.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I don't feel like the teams are really gonna click until the beginning of next season.
Yes.
True. You did say that.
And I mean, that's just chief among the reasons why.
I mean, that's why it's best to try to get this deal done as early as possible. And of course,
Yeah.
the more time they wait, the less time people have a chance to kind of bond. Even though, I'm sure Kyrie is like, wherever he goes, he's just gonna, become a new leader on that
Mm-hmm.
team, because he wants to be the guy. And if you want to be the guy, you got to be bold to wear that gold.
You gotta be bold to where the heart
I
told
mean,
us.
that is. So,
So,
I mean, that's ultimately it. I mean, I'm just curious to see. We're talking about Tatum or Jaylen Brown. I mean, that would just be too much. Way too much. Especially, I mean, if they gave up Tatum, I think I would probably
You
try to
just
call Danny Ainge
you just
myself.
got him though. Like that's my problem. Like you just got him.
And he was a steal. Like he was just kind of sitting there. And I mean, for the Celtics to pick him up, and I think he has a lot of future.
Yes.
But again, they're preparing for LeBron leaving. LeBron leaves. I mean, you have Tatum, you have freaking Isaiah Thomas, you have
Mm-hmm.
freaking Tristan Thompson. You have two young guys. I mean, you're all right. If LeBron does decide to leave, but the Celtics will be finished. And the Celtics were just really one or two players away from really pushing the
From really
Cavs.
pushing the Cavs. Yes.
They didn't really have to make all these deals, except for the clear the money for Gordon Hayward.
Yep.
Um, I don't know. It's rough, man. It's rough. Rough. But I mean, that's why I'm just curious to see if they're gonna pony up more picks or, unfortunately, more assets. Because I think at this point, most likely, what would happen is the Cavs would have to send either Shump or freaking, J.R. Smith back in the deal because they have like 30 players on their team, bro. 30 players.
And you
Like,
know, 28 of them are.
right. They're like mad old. I don't even, like, I'm telling you, like, I don't really know. Like, they should have no money left at all. Like, Derrick Rose took their last $5.
Those are those.
It's
yeah,
unbelievable.
but you got a truckload of those.
I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I just really believe that, deep down, it's going to be like, I feel like they might do it.
I hope not. I really do. And it just more saturated than it already is right.
Yeah.
Complain so much about the Warriors. Okay, people already complain so much about the Warriors about the Cavs are trying to become a team, despite the fact that LeBron James never played on a super team. Point.
Mm.
If they're able to make this work and get more players in this,
Mm-hmm.
will the public opinion have changed?
Absolutely not. They're not the Warriors. Who do you think they are? The Warriors? They're not Warriors. They're not even the Spurs.
But I guess the other question is, will they gain because they're trying their best to match up with the Warriors?
No, they got a great team. Like they have so many players that if you took 5 of the players on their bench and you put them up against the Nets, they would win. I went too far.
I can't believe you just said that.
Think about it like this: you got Channing Frye, Shumpert, J.R. Smith, freaking. I would even take Kyle Korver out there, and now you're throwing in potentially Derrick Rose, or heck, even if they put in one of their young guys, because they got some young guys down there on the bench too, somewhere buried, sitting next to Tyronn Lue, braiding his hair. I mean, there's some young guys down there. Come on and braid my hair. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a young guy.
I knew he was gonna go there. Oh my gosh.
You know, they got some young guys down there, you know, wasting their time, basically, just getting the bench experience. And it's like they could be on the Nets competing right now. Channing Frye would make the Nets a little better.
Channing Frye would be the top scorer on the Nets.
Shump might not be good in Cleveland, but Shump would be good in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay, I lied because Hollis Jefferson is still pretty good.
The system stinks. The team stinks.
And the coach stinks.
Coach is stinky.
So just, you know what they say? Can't coach with him because I can't coach.
Can't coach with him, can't play with him, just can't do it.
No, sir.
But yeah, I mean, that's just one of those things that's really, really interesting. I don't know what's going to become of this trade. I do hope that it is vetoed. And I hope that they try something different. Like, I just hope that Kyrie goes. Yeah, like maybe Kyrie goes to, I don't know, the Magic or something. You know what I mean? Like something new. Give me something fresh.
You know,
yeah, like
bring Kyrie over to the Knicks.
Right. I'd be okay with that. But then again, they would trade for Carmelo.
And I'm okay with that.
And that's where we get kind of weird because then it'd be like, oh, Carmelo, you know, it would be perfect. But then again, it's like Derrick Rose again.
I mean, look, if the check's right, I'm pretty sure he can get over that.
Yep.
But I don't know if I don't know if Carmelo cares about getting paid anymore.
Everybody cares about getting paid. Nobody works for free. But I mean, I see what
because he just took less money. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He literally just took less money. We saw him. He took $5. He took $5 on the million.
I mean, look, I'll completely go ahead and agree with you on that one. But likewise, like I said, how everybody has their price. It all is situation dependent. And so, I mean, I don't feel like, you know, Carmelo's going to play for free by any means. But if it was the right team, I could see him taking a cut too.
It would be interesting to see Kyrie get traded to the Nuggets to play with Paul Millsap.
That would be that would make the Nuggets a lot.
Yeah, like
the Nuggets a lot of fun.
You know, send him to like. I wouldn't want him to go to the Timberwolves or anything like that. That would be just too crazy.
Just got
Jeff Teague.
Doesn't make.
That's what I'm saying. Like
you know, sit there and bolster one position unless they're gonna run a 2-guard set, 2-point.
They have too many players unless they give up Wiggins.
Which they're not gonna do now because you know him and Karl Anthony Towns is their franchise duo, and I don't blame them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of where else he could go. Like, I saw a team like Miami, you know,
Miami already
not
has
Miami,
Gordon Dragic.
not Miami.
I mean, Sacramento
Uh,
would be pretty fun to watch.
well, they just drafted a point guard and they signed what's his name? Um, I can't even think of Collison. They still have Collison and they drafted Fox. Fox
Oh
is
yeah,
definitely going to be a great guard.
he's gonna be a really
Uh,
good guard. Uh, I was actually highly disappointed that my
I was highly disappointed. The Knicks didn't take a lot of people. They passed. I can't believe they passed on Monk. Oh my god.
it was Malik Monk. That's what it was.
Yeah, I
But I was
cannot
like,
believe that.
why didn't you grab him? I'm like, I'm getting really bad flashbacks again. Really bad flashbacks. It's like, yeah,
Oh
this
my
person's a
goodness.
project.
We don't need any projects.
No,
You didn't need any projects.
like it's supposed to be the time where we're supposed to be making become a playoff team,
Yeah, definitely.
and it's not happening.
Uh, definitely not happening.
And it makes me want to kick
Um,
someone in the face.
but also, it's just one of those things that we just have to get used to.
Yes. Fortunately, we gotta get used to it. Back to the main of just how one-sided, how lopsided the league is becoming. Very much a candy factory of a joke now.
Yeah.
And I mean, the West looks like the West of old. I mean, back into the early 2000s of the Western Conference.
I think we just need the reemergence of the Knicks, the Bulls, and the Pacers. Like, those are the teams that used to be really, really good.
Yes.
However, like, with the 76ers losing their top draft pick, their point guard, I mean, even though it would be kind of ridiculous to send him there, like if Kyrie went there, that would be interesting. You know what I mean? Because he only has what 1 or 2 years left.
Yep. 2 years.
So I mean, yeah, 2 years left, so it'd be interesting. Um, just send him somewhere like that needs a point guard. They might not get assets back. Maybe they get the draft picks and it just be what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes to the Pacers. Maybe he goes to, like you said, or like we said earlier, the Magic. Where Peyton is okay, but they just need that guard. That's going to give them something.
Mm-hmm.
Just send him somewhere different, man. Like I don't want to. I don't want to see a swapping of the guards.
So let's switch gears.
Mm-hmm.
Hardwood to the gridiron. News.
I hate the Cleveland Browns.
Yes, I've been waiting for this part. The floor is yours. Take it.
So, dear world, I hate the Cleveland Browns. I see them leaving Cleveland again. They are so terrible. So, I'm sitting there at my desk. Again, I don't get a chance to really look at, as much social media as I would want to as an analyst, because we're analysts here. We talk sports. We're considered analysts. My problem is the Browns say, hey, we want to trade Joe Hayden because he's not playing worth his contract. Who on the Browns is playing worth their contract? Really? The last person that was playing worth his contract left to go to Washington. Now it's Terrell Pryor.
Yes.
And he played well and beyond his contract because I think he was on not even a rookie contract. He might have been playing at a minimum joint. The last person before that I could remember is Peyton Hillis. and that was like almost 7 years ago. He had a great run, but again, they didn't build around Peyton Hillis. I probably would have tried to re-sign Terrell Pryor during the season if I could, because I knew, Terrell Pryor, he was a good player. You know what I mean? It's not too many people who go from quarterback to wide receiver and transition so well like Terrell Pryor did. So yeah, Terrell Pryor, you're getting Josh Gordon back, and it's like, And then you say, hey, we're going to trade one of our best cornerbacks? And not only that, we talked about this last year and leading up to this year, how there's no element of surprise in basically sports business these days. Like, oh, we're going to trade him. And if we can't trade him, we're just going to cut him. And it's like, well, there goes his value.
Yep.
And I hate when teams do that. Like, that's so stupid to me. So Joe Hayden now agrees to the Pittsburgh Steelers on a 3-year deal. So not only do you let him go, you lowered his value, but now you have to play him twice per year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
On a team that's
already really
a gazillion times better than yours.
It's funny because I feel like Cleveland in this have solidified their mark as the dumbest team in the NFL business wise.
Stupid.
Yeah, again, for all the aforementioned reasons, but as I was understanding it, it really just boiled down to the money. And
so they're paying. That's the thing about it. Like, I don't feel like the Cleveland Browns have this roster full of people because, like, I think they, like, their offensive line, I don't think they paid a lot on their offensive line. Their defensive line used to get paid a lot of money, but now they kind of don't. They don't have these upscale wide receivers. They don't have the upscale running backs. I'm trying to figure out where. Let me look. I'm gonna look.
Yeah,
Continue. I'm gonna look.
Go do that, Chris. Help them out.
Yeah, help me out, Chris. I'm gonna look.
Their average going across the board is somewhere between 8 to 10 million. Your boy's contract was coming up. He wanted his same cut, mind you, not even an increase. Same cut, 11.1 million, I think it was. And the worst part is, financially, they had the money for it. I mean, again, I've been paying you the same amount this whole time. I have the money for it. We haven't spent this excess money in any other area. But for whatever reason, they just decided, you know what? 7 million this year. And, like, honestly, at that point, I don't even blame them for telling them to kick rocks. But what was funny about it is you turned around and took the exact same deal at Pittsburgh.
Right. Because that's what you do.
Yeah, just to stick it to the man. And, hopefully make it to the playoffs, maybe even a championship this year.
So can I tell you guys who the highest paid Brown is right now?
Who is the highest paid Brown? Face reaction tells a lot right now.
It's Brock Osweiler at $16 million. I don't see anybody else really. Their base salary, there's no one, with the exception of maybe Joe Thomas. Mm-hmm. But no one, even Joe Thomas doesn't make $10 million. No one else makes more than $8 million, $9 million. Everybody else is kind of underneath that. I think, honestly, there might be somebody on here that might be... Let me see. I feel like somebody's missing. Let me see here. I feel like somebody's missing.
And here's the deal with that. Looking at the actual Browns website, or I'm sorry, the Cleveland newspaper website. Mm-hmm. So they just spent $16 million to get the 2018 second round pick,
right,
from Texas. And that's how they got Osweiler back. And they're paying out another $16 million. I have to get his name, but right now he's riding the bench. Kevin Zettler is averaging 12.5, and Joel Bitonio is averaging 10. So,
but these are with bonuses, though. These might be incentive based.
Yeah.
Well, no, and a lot of them are, but even still, like, coming into the season, you're almost guaranteed to hit that. The point is that I had this money in the bank to pay it to you, just like they had the money in the bank to pay. Excuse me, to pay Hayden.
The checking account instead of the savings.
Right. But my thing is, Joe Hayden has more value than some of those players.
Oh yeah, and I completely agree with you, and that's why I say like, Cleveland is right now, at least in my opinion, and a lot of others, um, the dumbest team business wise in the NFL.
Now their cap hits for 2026 have a salary of over
$1 million, right? And that's what I'm looking at. The hit, And my thing is also you have to keep in mind. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars are pretty bad too.
Yeah.
But Cleveland, when you look at the Cavs and what they've done, even before they got LeBron back, they were making better decisions than what the Browns are doing. Like, I never know what the Browns are doing. Like, I just feel like they might really need to just, like, a complete overhaul.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to my office to get my notebook, and I'm releasing all y'all.
That's pretty bad.
Straight white man come jump with it. I'm going to my office.
But I mean, to the Cavs, the LeBron Cavaliers' credit, they were making better business. Stopped once he came back.
True.
Agreed. No, that's definitely a good point. But I think Kyrie and I think Kevin Love would have probably had to step it up if LeBron didn't come back. But you keep in mind, they had Andrew Wiggins.
Yep.
It might have been okay.
I mean, they didn't know he was going to turn out the way he is right now.
Right. It might have been okay.
In fact, they didn't give it a chance.
They didn't. They let him go immediately. They let him off the hook.
They traded him as soon as the draft was over.
But I just felt like this is just one of those things where I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, what the heck are the Browns doing? Like, I just don't understand why you're trading one of your defensive players.
They're like little Kevin playing in the glue and colored pencils, just trying to make the prettiest mess that they can, given the materials that they have. At the end of the day, it's still a mess. Don't get me wrong. But somebody in some back office somewhere feels like they have a vision of what they want the Browns to be, obviously. And apparently Joe Hayden didn't fit that. I don't know why, but I guess we'll have to wait for possibly the beginning of next season to see.
I can't wait for that vision to come true. I can't wait to see.
You know what? I hope that it doesn't turn out to just be a hotter mess.
I hope that we get a chance to see it in our lifetime.
I just hope it's not.
We probably won't. Like, honestly, I will be in my grave probably watching this come to fruition. But
oh, those Bears, they did it.
Definition of the long game.
Well, I mean,
absolutely.
We kind of said the same thing about.
I mean, look how many years that took, though. I mean, do we have time? Do the Browns fans have time for that? They waited a long time for the Cavs.
Hey, they're still filling up the seats, so obviously they're hoping.
This is true.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like the only game in town.
Yeah, the dog pound. I mean, unless you're going to Ohio State games or wherever. I mean, the dog pound is pretty strong. It's just they're starting to put paper bags over their dog hats.
Hilarious. But one thing that we haven't started talking about is the actual contract with.
Which he said, Calvin mentioned that it was the same amount of money that the Browns were giving him, which is really a slap in the face.
I'm just like, I'm sorry. It's kind of like choosing between your mistress and your main chick, but like only when your main chick stops cooking and dressing up and all these other things. It's kind of like, it wasn't a good deal before, but what do I got to lose at this point?
Nah, definitely. Now, one thing.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No. I was going to change. I was going to change the subject completely.
So the thing I want to ask you both both now.
Maybe, probably not too much more because teams are kind of set with their rosters already. Um, I think he could have. I mean, the Steelers are a great team to be a part of. He's going to have a pass rush in front of him that's really good. Some linebackers that are really good. He's going to play with some great safeties, but he's also going to finally play with an offense that can really move the football.
Yes.
And that's going to give him more time
on the field 90%
of the time. And Le'Veon Bell runs the football, so it's going to give him time to actually rest. They're going to get time to get coached. He's probably going to be in the All-Star game or the Pro Bowl if they don't. If they don't, of course, go to the Super Bowl.
Well, and I mean, as far as clarification on your question, more from which team? Because I feel like the deal was dead in the water with Cleveland the minute that they came out and offered him less than what he was making last year. Like, that was kind of a slap in the face. At that point, like, I'm already looking at the door. It's just whoever answers first.
Honestly, a team would have been really desperate to give him more money. I think he probably just stick with the Steelers because think about it. Like I said, he plays them twice a year, so he probably, those guys after the game they talk, a lot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So they probably was like, hey, come play over here. They probably called him immediately, like, yo, you should definitely come here. Like, stop playing. Just come to Pittsburgh. Yeah, it's cold in the wintertime, but just come come play for us. Steel Curtain.
No
Steel
colder
Curtain.
than Cleveland.
Well, actually, it's probably
exactly
to play in the code because catch balls all the time.
This is true.
And they get hit in the code.
It's true. You definitely. I mean, as a lineman, it's rough, but after you start playing, your body gets so warm. Only thing that sucks, the kryptonite to the cold game is halftime.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you go inside and you're like, oh God, I was so warm. Now I'm cold again. Oh God, no. And I don't want to change the subject, but I don't know how much time do we have left, Chris? What does Chris say over there?
20.
Well, really quickly, Chris, what did you think? Did you guys hear that T.O. said he feels it's a joke that he's not still playing in the NFL? Is that a joke within itself?
I think so.
Wow, at 43, mind you, a guy who was up for the Hall of Fame. He feels it's a joke he's not still playing. Meanwhile, Cap isn't playing either.
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. But I just wanted to throw that out there because I felt it was pretty stupid.
How things are transitioning.
Absolutely.
But speaking of transitioning, head over to the and talk some.
My God!
I guess we should start with the John Cena from the hip. Now it's in air quotes.
Hilarious. It was a.
It worked. Yeah,
it was, yeah. It was a mental workout for Roman, I think. I think what John Cena told him was, I don't care what they say in the back, I'm bigger than Vince McMahon. John Cena said, I am bigger than Vince McMahon. And you're going to have to work a lot harder to get these people over here. This side saying that John Cena is great. This side saying that John Cena sucks. You're going to have to work a lot harder than I beat The Undertaker.
Honest with you, that's the
Mm-hmm.
and we're not talking. I mean, he's done nothing. His biggest accomplishment was the stuff he I mean, what have you done?
He's had a few Superman punches.
No, no,
He's had a few spears.
no.
He's drove a few people.
He is not getting a participation trophy. What he's done in WWE, not happening.
He's put a few people through tables.
Oh, so is everyone else.
He said, "I'm not the good guy.
No.
I'm not the bad guy,
No.
but I am the guy."
Which is probably one of the worst catchphrases.
And then he said, "Believe that."
Helen, I apologize, but Roman can believe the.
Oh. That's a technical. But Roman does signify what John Cena said he was.
Yes.
A cheap.
Of course, that part was still a.
But he's right though. He is a cheap replication of him.
Of course he is. We all know this.
But he's nowhere near John Cena though. Like, and I don't think John Cena's a great wrestler. He's a great entertainer, to an extent.
John Cena is current generation Rock.
John Cena was the prototype.
Thank you very much for joining us tonight. I'm done. Nope, can't do it.
Hold on.
Nope,
No. You can't.
I can't believe
Come on.
that. I can't believe
John Cena.
you used that as a statement of argument about John Cena.
John Cena was the prototype, and it just so happened to work.
No, The Rock was the real prototype, and then John Cena took it to.
But John Cena went with Thugonomics. Nobody was really doing that. That was kind of new.
The Rock created the corporate champion.
The Rock.
And was able to transition his character through many things. Not Chris Jericho level, but he was able to. Everyone with him and everyone against him, just like that.
But see, The Rock. But that's the thing. The Rock, it was in a time where you could be face or you could be heel, and people respected you for it. Where John Cena, he's never
on his jock because everyone wanted to be the hip person who liked hip hop.
Until he throws that hip throw, John Cena will never ever go heel. He even said it during the spiel. He said,
it's not the fact that he doesn't want the fact that they, meaning Vinnie Mac, won't let him go heel, and that in turn create the rift that we currently have today. I'm just saying. That's why everyone says, "Let's go Cena." John Cena, John Cena, because he's been a face, and what got him over was him being
heel.
Same thing with Austin, same with Rock. So he's really a prototype for anything. They just took a format that previously worked with other bigger stars of the,
Hold on. Let's take it back even further. Does nobody remember Hollywood Hogan?
That's what I've been saying. Hollywood was
and NWO.
Hollywood was almost bigger than Hulkamania at a point.
Hollywood
was
bigger than Hulkamania.
It was so great, but I mean, it's too late for John Cena.
I'm so glad that you said that. So here's why what you said makes sense, and this is going to kind of argue with the whole Cena. By the time Hogan joined that whole the fans were already turning on him. In fact, they started turning on him prior to that. And about him and Jake the Snake Roberts was being a program for the. And they stopped it because Jake was getting the baby pops and Hogan was starting to get the heel heat. What made it work with Hollywood is they finally decided to flip that switch. That's what they should have done with Cena years ago. Which is why people are still asking for it, but by the time they do it, they're going to be like, okay, I mean, yeah, he's a heel, but kind of too late now. You're at the twilight of your career, so. All it is to try to get people who booing him to now cheer for him, and for all the little kids to be like, "Mommy, why is Mr. Cena dying his ding dong?"
Hilarious. Because you never give up, son.
Well, and you know what?
I can see it now, like Cena gonna cut a promo. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, and after I finish whooping his behind, I'm gonna kick his behind some more after the bell, and I'm gonna do it for you, little Billy." As he's sitting there kicking him in the ding dong, thinking of you, Billy. Thinking of you.
You know, but
Shout
like
out to Team Four Star for that line.
Mm-hmm.
in a little bit of Cena's defense, a lot of that, like you're right, it was Vinnie Mac, but it was more so because they had envisioned Cena being the new face of the WWE, actual entertainment brand. They were pushing him in movies. They were pushing him into shows. They were trying to put him up on that Rock level to draw in more fans.
Yes.
And it just never quite took off like they envisioned it would, i.e. The Rock.
I mean,
So,
yes and no. So
yeah, he was in
Rock
some
is
movies.
correct, but the problem is
Mm-hmm.
he hit his peak, and at that peak point, that's when they should have begun that decline to him going. And what really caused the massive rift was the Nexus situation, when he basically buried the entire Nexus, which is why from that SummerSlam current year he lost every single match that he competed in SummerSlam.
True.
Of course, no one cared about David Otunga, which is why there wasn't. But that goes without saying. But
I mean,
them just making him that Super Cena that he can't lose and things like that would cause the bad taste in everyone's mouths.
Yeah, I can agree with that because I mean,
the most over babyface Hollywood,
Hollywood adjacent.
Kind of.
John Cena is the only person that's still wrestling like we're in the 80s and early 90s. He gets beat up, then he hulks out or warriors out or whatever you want to call it. And basically it's you can't see me.
Oh god, the 5 Woos of death.
I mean, he's gotten beat up. I mean, John Cena, he's one of the best at taking a beating.
Yes.
But then when it's time for him to come back, he comes back.
Life skills.
He hits the shoulder blocks. He hits the. I guess that's a suplex. Yeah. He hits the suplex, and then it's. You can't see me. He runs to the rope, runs to the other rope, drops a 3-finger move to the canvas.
Yep.
Because he never actually hits the person.
Nope.
And then he hits him with an AA. Match, point, set.
Which still goes about, some of the...
I love when he does the super AA. Because, I mean, I feel like that would really hurt. It's a super fireman's carry. I mean, that part is pretty, I like it. And sometimes when he...
anything in this
I'd rather see an avalanche fall-away slam.
That's true, too. Maybe that'd be good for Big Cass when he comes back from his torn ACL.
I mean, it's, the high school version of the bye-bye. Which, when people don't know what that is, SmackDown, shut your mouth, or here comes the pain. There's a German suplex from off the hell. That's the bye-bye.
Oh my god! No! No!
It is salt and rage-inducing galore.
Yeah, good times though. Really, really good times.
Oh gosh! Oh my gosh! Okay, but back to the subject at hand, though.
Subject at hand.
I mean, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman cut a really good promo.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, hyping up Braun Strowman and. As much as I love Paul Heyman, here's the problem here's what I dislike. Almost every single Brock Lesnar had that was able to get a. Heyman always says, and not verbatim, that this is Brock Lesnar's biggest challenge ever.
I feel like he always says that.
Yes.
I feel like
and
Brock's biggest challenge is being relevant.
Exactly.
Right.
It's like, well, I mean, how is he your biggest challenge? Didn't you just say that about Samoa Joe?
Honestly, the biggest challenge that Brock's had was that Fatal 4-Way, probably. I mean, that was probably it. I mean, who you got? Goldberg? Randy Orton? I mean, come on. He hasn't really fought anybody outside of Joe, and that was a joke. Joe was a joke. I mean, I feel like Braun is... They're probably going to let Braun win it.
They're going to let Braun win it. It's already in the... not the rumor mills.
You know, like...
Because they are agreeing with us. They do want...
And I mean, Braun has been built so strongly. I mean, he's beat Roman. I mean, I think I would have liked to see him beat Joe. Mm-hmm. You know, I would like to see him beat some credible guys. But really, the thing with putting the title on Braun is it builds it up to where now you know the smaller guys are out.
Yes.
And now you know it's going to be Roman, Joe, Brock. That's it. We're going to get this for the remainder of the year and into next year, probably up to WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. We'll probably get the same Fatal 4-Way again at WrestleMania.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So to me, it's like I'd rather it be the smaller guys. Like I really want them to get to the smaller guys because what I see in NXT TakeOver with people like Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre and all the strong stylists. Sorry, I said strong stylist. I feel like dancing. No, I mean, I feel like, sorry. I feel like that's the move. Like, that's the direction that we should be going in. I love Braun Strowman. I think he's come a long way from where he was. I think his skills are still developing. Mm-hmm. I still think he needs to learn how to take a beating. But I like the fact that they're taking Roman out of the title picture, putting him against Cena. I hope Cena beats him. It would be great to see Roman Reigns buried. It would be great.
I mean,
but it's
will he get buried like?
Probably not, and that's why it's unrealistic for me to even say that.
So, in other news, apparently
I was so mad when I read that update. It's so stupid.
Not and I like that, but then we also had a face turn.
We did.
And I say that with a question mark because I don't know who's the face and who's the heel.
Right. And with women, with the women's division, there is still face and heel. But you're right. We have no idea. Well, in NXT there was. When Sasha Banks was a real heel versus Bayley, it was heel versus face. It was clear. But with this one...
Great chance. Great chance.
And that's perfect. That's the heat that you want.
Yes. That's how you have a champion.
That's what you want.
I'm so mad he did that. I'm so mad he just did that.
That's what you want.
So, Alexa Bliss reclaimed the Raw's Women's
for the 19th time.
No, second time.
Little Miss Bliss. Unbelievable.
What made the match even more the fact they kept talking about how Sasha. So, of course, as soon as they say that, you knew that she was.
Yeah. I hate it.
So after Alexa Bliss wins, here comes Nia Jax. The steamrolls. Unfortunately, sounds really, really dirty, so I apologize.
Nah, Helen has to know.
Alexa
Helen only knows. Helen only knows.
She likes edible arrangements. P.S.
Oh God!
Spend a small fortune in those.
I mean, after what happened yesterday, I mean, She still
Oh,
has.
that
That one
She
should
still,
be on guard.
she actually has the jar for the dude.
Man.
I don't think anybody says more controversial things than me. I just can't even help it.
But
So I'm glad you take the heat
Alexa
off
goes
me.
up to the second.
Mm-hmm.
Guy puts her on her shoulders. Tries to give her an electric chair. Crowd
Mhm.
goes nuts. By the way, I didn't even realize that was the end of. After the Cena pretty much finished.
It was kind of uneventful, and it was my birthday, of course. So I was, I think I was chilling,
You
really
just stole
drinking
my
the
final
beer.
thought. Piss it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sarah. I'm sorry.
Dang it.
I'm, s- I'm sorry, man. I'm
It's
sorry.
okay. We're still gonna sing happy birthday for you.
No, we're not doing that. We're
Yes,
not
we
doing
are.
that.
Yes, we are.
No, no, no,
Chris
no.
is
Hell,
also going to join in.
Chris is gonna
It
get
was
a
Helen's
code.
idea.
It was Helen.
Chris is gonna get a code breaker.
Code breaker into a bye-bye.
That's right. And I'm gonna do a diving dose of reality.
We already
Chris, I hope you
discussed
brought
that.
your
It's not
helmet.
gonna work. It's not gonna work
It's not
like
gonna-
that.
It's not gonna work. I just wanted to say it.
First of all, you have to have accuracy. Like a Hyperion gun.
Oh. Well, the only thing I know is Jacob, so the strength of Jacob's.
Well, of course, Jacob has this massive sway, so
That's all I care about at this time. Jacob.
SmackDown. The only thing relevant for SmackDown, Shelton Benjamin returned successfully in a tag team match.
Well, let's hold on. I mean, Raw had two more things here. I wanted to just. There was, I guess, this battle royal. You can't skip the battle royal.
I wanted to.
Big Show cut the beard. Come on, he shed his beard, and Jeff Hardy won. That's kind of weird.
I mean, okay, if you have to talk about that, I guess is WWE really trying to push Jeff since they can't do the broken gimmick and it's gonna go back to what works?
This would be the only way to get us to the broken theme.
Really?
I mean, based on what I've seen.
Not looking. Dane's not looking.
I mean, if he can do it, I mean, they might literally do the whole thing over again. Absolutely. Like, we might see him literally go through the whole transformation. Like, we might see it exactly how it appeared previously. McMahon, or however he called him, McMahon. Like it's gonna be really, really bad. But also we had a laughable cruiserweight match between Enzo Amore and Mr. Dar. Which
talk about this seriously?
Which
3 minutes.
Which let me tell you what was funny because so Enzo does Xavier Woods' old move.
Yes, he does.
And he did it very poorly.
Yeah, he did.
Very poorly. It was really terrible. And apparently he got some flack for it in the back, I heard.
I mean,
It was pretty much.
But when doesn't he have?
It's funny because he also took a picture at the Mayweather fight.
That he paid
Just rubbing off.
Did he?
Yes.
I forget who he took a picture with. He took a picture with somebody.
With Harvey.
Steve Harvey, that's what it was. It was kind of weird. That was weird. Oh, God. Enzo Plez. But I think that was it. I think you talked about Brock Lesnar. All right, so SmackDown. Smack.
Returned.
Yes.
With.
How do you guys feel about the Marie and Mike Kanellis story? I'm not sure if you know. Basically, Mike Kanellis is addicted to some kind of drugs, I didn't really get a chance to get too much into it. Painkillers, that's exactly what it was. He was admitted to the hospital, and now the WWE apparently is, quote unquote, giving up on him. They just got there 2 days ago.
I feel like they gave up on him.
Right, by putting him in that stupid gimmick.
Well, the gimmick was exactly what they pretty much did in TNA, which is now GFW. But the problem is they just brought them over to basically a, middle. And that's it. It was just that one-time deal. Other than that, they didn't care. But that's the problem with them bringing in new talent, is they keep bringing people over. They have nothing for them.
Yep.
That would have been a great opportunity for them to feud against some, woman superstar and a gentleman superstar and bring back the intergender.
True.
It would have been great. That would have been great television.
But they didn't do that.
But they didn't do that. And they, opportunity once again.
Is Marie still on TV? Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I feel like I haven't seen her. I see the Miztourage so much. I feel like I haven't seen her. But I think other than that, I mean,
that Battle Royal. See, that's why I didn't want to talk about the Battle Royal because the Miztourage was right there. Miz was right there at ringside. It just showed how little sense it made for us to talk about it because I can't even name all the people who was in there.
No, I get it, man. It was a lot of jobbers. I get it. So Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton faced off against Rusev and Jinder Mahal. Rusev, of course, took another L for the team.
Of course he did. Which is ironic because a few months back it was Jinder Mahal taking the L's for that team.
I mean, I wonder if they will put together that international team again. The one that Wade Barrett got kicked out of, but then they wound up kind of dismantling the group anyway.
Yeah, I don't foresee that happening again.
I mean, I'm just saying, that's when Rusev was over the most. To me, at least. I didn't watch
for a while, but they keep pushing him, and then they drop it, and then they keep pushing, then they drop it.
He does a great job. When he's getting pushed, he does a great job. But when he's losing, you can kind of just tell, he's going to lose.
Yes.
How demoralizing.
It's pretty demoralizing.
It's like getting drafted. It's like getting drafted by the Cleveland Browns. You just know you're going to lose.
This is where careers go to die.
Poor Miles. He just got drafted there. Ugh. Succotash.
It's like getting drafted by the.
Nah.
If only it was just as easy as the lights of the Brooklyn Nets. The hardest part of the whole game is the lights coming on.
Terrible.
Just saying. Come on. You know that's the hardest part of the stadium. The light.
And you know you're terrible.
Hey, sorry. Not sorry.
No, he really isn't, folks. He is not sorry at all. But, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our show. We're going to do our final thoughts. We're going to start off the final thoughts. What do you got for us?
First and foremost, just want to say happy belated birthday to the Doc. Another year in the can. Congratulations. No buses came out of anywhere. Another cake eaten.
Cake eaten.
That's right. Ain't that something? Cake.
Hey, it's cake eating cake.
Mm.
But
eating cake.
Flipping McGregor, man. That's all I really have to say. I am glad I did not bet the farm on that. Something told me as soon as I saw Mayweather in the card, just don't do it. Don't do it, bro. Don't do it. And I'm glad I listened to that little voice in the back of my head. Maybe it was Chris. Maybe this is the first time in life that I listened to Chris. Chris, I will never admit that again.
Ever.
But, I'm just glad. So, to anyone who lost money on that fight, and I do mean major money on that fight. I hear Canada is accepting visa applications right now.
Wow.
So, go ahead, hop in line, and make sure you get that paperwork filled out in a timely manner, because bookies and loan sharks everywhere are having open season.
When it comes crashing down, and it hurts inside.
When it rains, it
hurt
pours.
my friends, then you hurt my pride. I gotta be a man. I can't let it slide.
I wanna be a man again.
Well, that right there is controversial now.
I'm sorry.
Ba-da-ching!
Bing, ding, dong. Professor?
I have two final thoughts. First, the reveal trailer of the newest Street Fighter character, Minot, was actually pretty good. I had a chance to watch some gameplay. Some people have been beta testing. She is actually going to be released in 2 days. When I first seen it, I thought it was a good cross between Rose, another Street Fighter character, and Athena. Apparently, there's another character that's a lot of reference with her, but she does a lot of dancing, so I got a lot of from a character from Street Fighter EX3. But she looks pretty good. She has a lot of mix-up. Actually, the last thing I watched before the show was she has a taunt where she does a split. And she can actually dodge fireballs with it.
Oh, crazy.
Of course, the recovery time is really bad, but you can dodge fireballs with it. Pretty good. Like, if it was a super and you could time it right, you might be able to dodge it, get the recovery frames back so you can at least try to punish or at least go back to the neutral position too.
True.
So,
But most of the time when people throw fireballs, they throw from a distance anyway, so that's good.
But if they do a super,
I like the look Ellen was giving you during all of that.
Exactly.
True. That's true.
So, look forward to watching more gameplay with that. And the second one, and I'm kind of glad that we didn't talk about it because I wanted to make this my final thought, want to give our well wishes to GFW superstar Rosemary, who is recovering from an elbow injury after an incident that happened this past weekend. During a match with another superstar out in Mexico, Sexy Star, who decided to go into business with herself and put Rosemary into a legit arm bar.
Wow.
According to a lot of insiders, and I actually watched the video and the match itself, she dropped her and then went straight into the hold and just started torquing. And for those that, follow like jujitsus and MMA or just self-defense by itself, it's real easy for someone to break your arm just by torquing that hard, and she was in a legit position to do so. So it's very Bush League. Not only myself, but most of the internet wrestling community frowned upon this action, and she was taken out of WrestleCade's future events. We don't know what the repercussions is going to happen, but as that comes along, we'll be sure to try to provide as much information as possible. So, well wishes to Rosemary and wish her a speedy recovery.
Word.
It is my turn. So, I do have some final thoughts here. The first, a news broke earlier with the Professor John Guy, the King of RNG, the Troll Masters, Data Analyzing Ninja, the Conqueror. That Derrick Rose says he is no longer playing for the fame of the game, but the name on the back of his jersey and his legacy, which is his son. So it puts things into perspective for me because, I was so angry when Derrick Rose signed this deal with the Cavs. So angry because he took, like I said earlier, $5 on the million to go play with LeBron Lind. And it really upset me. But knowing that, hey, maybe, obviously, there's still going to be some fame in this because you're playing with the quote-unquote best basketball player in the world.
Best athlete, but, that goes without saying.
I get what you're saying. But, I think that his, I guess the idea of it, he didn't have He didn't have his father present in his life, so he wanted to make sure that he was a good role model to his son. And that's where his whole motivation is. And yes, he really has that written down in his notepad. And I'm good with that.
He should not feel ashamed of himself for that.
He shouldn't feel ashamed of himself for that. So that's going to be good. The next thing here I saw, Aaron Rodgers says Colin Kaepernick isn't on an NFL team because of his protests, which kind of debunks a lot of the things where people said he wasn't on the team because of his performance, so on and so forth. He said that it would be ignorant to believe that Kaepernick's extended stay on the free agent market wasn't impacted by the protest.
Absolutely.
And what a great statement that is. I mean, so many people have their opinions, but, Aaron Rodgers, although somebody who probably won't protest himself, at least understands and respects the fact that, hey, this is a guy that can play in this league.
Yes.
And it would be ignorant for people to ignore that he's not getting a shot because of the protest. And my last final thought, of course, would be, of course, we did have a suspension reduced. We didn't get a chance to mention it. Vontaze Burfict had his suspension reduced from 5 games to 3 games. He was suspended for an illegal hit against Kansas City Chiefs fullback Anthony Sherman this month. And basically, they awarded him 2-game difference, which, I mean, in some cases is a lot of money. So, shout out to him. I mean, hopefully they get it together, because I feel like the Cincinnati Bengals always have a lot of people in trouble. It's kind of weird down there. But we do have a pretty solid track tonight. I was talking to someone last week, and I actually got a chance to listen to some of his other songs, but this particular one was the one that I was like, this is a pretty good one. It's by Planet Asia, which he works with another person called Tri-State, and they come together and form General Monks. And the song is called Morse Code. And I look forward to everybody listening to it.
Absolutely.
Well, hold on real quick. One last thing. So, apparently I talked to Steve, and the Funko Pop promotion that we discussed last night, that apparently is not happening. But we will try to come up with something else for some other time. So,
wait, was it Steve or was it Chris?
No, it was Steve. I don't listen to Chris on matters dealing with anything. But yeah, it was Steve.
Oh God!
Apparently, we don't have the budget for that.
Got it.
Oh, that was Scott with the budget.
Scott.
No. Scott has an intern too now.
Really?
Yeah, you haven't met Steve? Yeah.
Dang, I should have missed that one meeting then. Sheesh.
I'm just saying, like they sent out a memo and everything, or maybe it was just to me. I don't know.
It was probably just to you. I mean,
yeah,
I'm slowly but surely getting pushed away from this. It's gonna be It's gonna be the Duke and Doc show.
Oh my God! Straight D&D.
Honestly, I feel like Steve's just there for protection against probably me. But more updates on that as I get them.
I just feel like everybody's always a dose of reality away.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And actually, latest news that just came out before we do our big finish. The Chargers are now shopping wide receiver Dontrell Inman.
Which I feel like is crazy, because I think the Seahawks are also trading or shopping their wide receiver Curse. So I don't know what's going on with these wide receivers, but they're getting shopped.
Absolutely.
Dude, last season it was the curse of the kickers. Now it's the wide receivers.
Oh, it's still the curse of the kickers if you're the Doctor's former kicker.
Yeah, he's still missing kicks, even in Chicago. So, I mean, it's definitely not... I don't know. I don't know. We don't want to prolong the show, but you got great weather like Tampa, and it's not raining, and it's just hot, and all you got to do is kick in a state that you've been playing in for the last 5 years. I'm not even trying to hear any more excuses. Get that guy out of here. Maybe kicking is just not his thing anymore.
Hilarious.
As somebody said earlier, well, this is the last thing. Somebody said earlier, I worked on cars for 15 years, but from this day forward, cars are no longer my thing.
Hilarious.
Kicking is no longer his.
Man, he's got a bum pinky toe, right?
I mean, sometimes you can be the man, sometimes you're just a pissant. And unfortunately for him, he's becoming a pissant.
Pissant City.
And Chris has now given us the time to stop the show sign. So thank you very much.
Shouts out to Helen, I didn't violate.
Yes, I think now you get an Amazon gift card for that one. He went through 2 shows back to back without saying anything controversial.
Now I'm gonna harass Helen for the next 5 days.
Hilarious.
That'll never happen.
No.
That'll never happen.
No.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for joining our show tonight. Be sure to follow us on our social media. On Facebook at Debates Among Friends. On Twitter at Debates Among Fre. Also, stay tuned for our gaming streams. Twitch.tv/Debates Among Friends. And also the YouTube channel. Just search for Gaming Amongst Friends. You can follow myself at Ken86. The Doctor at TL Double, and we are definitely trying to get, once Chris is, get out from underneath the desk for hiding for so long, we will get the Duke his own social media account.
Share your pictures, man. It's the way to go. I don't trust the government.
Oh my goodness. Once again, I am the Professor John Gotti.
I'm Dr. Wednesday Night himself.
And I am the Duke.
And we'll catch you again. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Peace and love.
The ocean.
The thin red line stretched almost a mile through the streets of Rangoon. From Burma's holiest shrine, the monks marched toward the center of the capital, hailed as heroes by the watching crowd. Many joined the protest as numbers swelled to around 100,000 people. But after a month of growing support for the daily demonstrations, there are ominous signs that the military government may soon take action. Last night it broadcast a message denouncing the march and warning the protesters to stop. There are unconfirmed reports that hospitals are now being emptied of non-critical patients in preparation for possible bloodshed.
General Monks, yeah, Tri-State Planet Asia, yeah, we home, yeah, DLPC, yeah. Check out the building blocks and how we add on. Shout out to all the true and living in every ghetto around this 6 sextillion tons. Still a 7 General Monks, the rap cherubims, 2,200 miles across the Arabic desert, surrounded by a circle of fire. Meet God in the person of Aya, it's the Messiah.
Friar. With the handheld cannon, I meet the last standing. Most merciful monk, circle of understanding. High honor llama, throwing flying fist to karma. Time bomber, martyr, blow you if you bringing drama. Unnefa mean supreme being. For the pyramid paper scheme, begets king.
Unidentified flying objects beam. The men in black, double teaming supreme. Elohim, Kundalini, scroll Sumerian, golden chariots, age of Aquarius, 360 commandments of the areas, mass given dominion. I do the knowledge before my opinion and do the honors of scholarly lynchings.
Itching to slap the shit out the globe, unravel the mold. Ice cold pamphlet glow, the saga unfold. Children of the hatred in the matrix of the sacred. Sacrifice for artificial greatness, stop cloning. Paradigm shift, glitch in the moment, time frozen. Like Farrakhan say, we need a tone.
I can open the Red Sea with my poems. The staff of Moses, the rap of Shabazz. We master the moment, future psychics. Splash it with the A of likeness.
Your Royal Highness Israelite.
The product of the poor righteous. Enlightened ciphers like a Moor from Cyprus. 12 majestic. The level is some other next shit.
Another message, gut check, cutthroat, domestic rap pregnant. Birth for the 12 jewels embedded, call a medic.
God or a comedic.
Personify electric. Through the eyes of the Sphinx, my people see perfection. Sky dive from the mothership, we hovering. Fuck the government, nigga, protect the covenant.
Murk you out your macabre, the mind is the mothership. Pirates of the pioneer, shape-shifting and shuffling. Hieroglyph hustling, dance with the divine signs. Mind detect mind, majesty's last suffering. Left Mary Magdalene suffering, none touching them.
Handcuffing them, gym shimmering emblem. Wi-Fi satellite signal swing on the pendulum. Splash show and tell. COINTEL go to hell when the truth is revealed from patterns we
Got it
unveil.
for sale.
Dirt cheap,
Gotta get mail.
burst heat.
Hotter than hell on top of the scale.
The earth sleep blinded by tales. The writings in braille, the beats Morse code.
Force known, rocking it well. Hit singles flying off of the shelves.
Tip wine from the holy grail.
Walk with the knowledge of self.
Aspire for wealth.
Poisonous rings bad for your health.
Nigga,
Like that, General Monks in the motherfucking building.
beat pro slaps.
Real shit has never died.
Yeah, no. Each step becomes elevated.
Art.
Very soon they will start infiltrating the demonstrations with soldiers dressed as monks. They will start provoking violence, and then the regime will use that as an excuse to go in with a quite brutal crackdown.
There were maybe 24 monks coming out of the pagoda, and people on the street in Rangoon standing there cheering, watching the police leave the scene, and a huge roar went up in the crowd as the police left and the monks came out.